Would you treat your best referral partner like you treat your spouse? 24/7 Mindset World. Thank you so much for making time to connect today. What I'm really excited about today is, man, we've got both sides of the best of both worlds. So what you're going to hear from today is Tammy's building $1 billion world in the mortgage space. And then Bernie is Mr. Trainer, everything, anything of how to empower loan officers and help get them through that. Tammy and Bernie, which one of you wants to share, but where do you see people get that wrong and bringing that to life?
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, Wally, thanks so much for having us. This is amazing. I think what we find has really worked, and what we're really trying to build, both of us, is we're trying to find LOs that wanna certainly succeed, double their business, okay, but also realize they've got to double their impact at home. And sometimes we end up finding folks that are already struggling with the home piece, right? Because I think the mistake is everybody thinks that, wow, if we're doing great business and we're making money, everything's going to be great. And we'll tell some stories later where that did not work out exactly for us, right? But I think that's where people get it wrong. And what we've tried to refocus on with our second marriage and building this business together initially was that, man, you've got to have systems to treat your marriage like your most important business. As you do that, you can implement these training programs and these systems to keep growing your lending business. I don't know. Tam, what do you think?
Well, I think we're taught, and Wally, I know you see this across the board, right, with your community and your influence in the industry itself, is we all have our KPIs. We have our talk tos, our face to faces, our events we need to go to, the people we need to see, those that we need to cater to, but that's only on the production side. And whereas high achievers, we like to focus on making sure we hit our metrics. And what Bernie and I have done with our sales team is have them focus and create those KPIs for home. So you can double your impact at home alongside of doubling your income. And with that comes defining the KPIs, having your marriage by design at home, and therefore netting even more impact and allowing your productivity to be compounded from your success at home into your workplace results.
Yeah, some of the best advice I ever got. And I've been successfully married for 21 years. And when I say that, hopefully that kind of understands that I built an amazing mortgage business, super successful in the origination space, and then out in the coaching and the author space. But to be married to the same woman for 21 years, what I learned a long time ago is, and I was guilty of not doing this. Would you treat your best referral partner like you treat your spouse? And when it was explained that simply to me, if I'm having lunch with my biggest realtor referral partner, am I on my phone texting someone else back? No, I am not. If I'm sitting there having like a heart to heart type of conversation, am I saying, hey, hold on, I'll be right back in 5 minutes. I need to take this pre-approval. No, I'm not. And I think when it was explained to me that way, I'm like, holy smokes. Like I treated my referral partners with more attention, like heart to heart, emotional time attention than I did previously my wife. And when you realize that, that to me was a eye opener, but just a complete mindset shift. How are you two helping loan officers have that same mindset shift?
Yeah, so we coach. Well, we actually coach married couples, high performers, both in the mortgage business and out of the mortgage business. But I love your analogy, right? And if you think about, and obviously we'll stick to the loan officer side. We all know that real well. You're a top producing loan officer, and you get taught, in a lot of these programs, you got to be calling your best realtors once a week. You got to be adding value, sending some value bombs, whatever that means, right? And then, like you said, my best referral source, I want to be face to face with at least once a month, right? In a high quality way. Well, I think with our marriages, we've implemented some very distinct tactics, some checklist kind of tactics, which we'll talk about a little bit later too. But one great example, because I know we want to go deeper, right? Is we have something that we call marriage by design, which is a weekly marriage meeting. Now we coach this, but we also do it. Like if you don't do these things yourself, and we literally designed this in our second marriage. So for Tammy and I, we both had first marriages in this business that we screwed up, didn't know what to do, didn't implement any sort of systems. Okay. Then we got married the second time, and through some epiphany moments realized, hey, we've got to do this differently. And so one of the things we've implemented in our framework is this marriage by design. So Wally, we literally have a 1 to 2 hour meeting. We actually just did it. For us, Monday morning really works. We're pretty entrepreneurial, we're running our own teams, just like most mortgage people. So Monday morning, our first meeting is with each other, 1 hour. We use this checklist and just make sure we're aligned to start our week.
That's brilliant. When that started happening, what were some keys or what are some nuggets or what identified to you that you guys were not only having a meaningful business, but also a meaningful personal relationship? What are some key KPIs around that?
Well, I think the KPIs that can naturally translate over from business into personal is how much quality time are you getting? So again, to what Bernie's example, you're catering to your clientele referral source. You're very intentional about setting time with them one-on-one, about giving them a call, about gifting them. So we made sure to do so in our personal lives. But specifically, I think what can easily happen is you feel the stress of your partner. So one of the points of our weekly marriage by design is your connection and your personal stress, just rating that between 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Because the assumption is when you feel stress from a partner, you assume that it's something you've done and that you're the cause of that stress. And you're then therefore questioning your connection with them. But that's rarely the case. Sure, on occasion, there could be some stress caused by your partner, but a lot of times you have stress caused by other factors. It could be something at work. It could be something other personal. It could be just something that you've been grappling with, but it doesn't have to do with your spouse. But there's no scheduled space to have the conversation. So it starts to create conflict.
Yeah.
And that's where we've allowed the intentionality of business, where we have those conversations, we have check-ins, we ask, what are we doing well? What's not going well? What can we improve on? We just schedule that so there can be focused time for conversation to minimize any type of conflict there. And we assess it on a weekly basis.
Yeah. One of the questions I was always taught to ask my spouse is, what is one thing you want to tell me, but you're afraid of telling me? Or
Great question.
What is one thing that you feel that I am not listening to because I'm not hearing you? And I think when I realized those types of, like, to be successfully married for 21 years, clearly you've got to be a great communicator and you've got to always take the higher road. I mean, it wasn't always like that. And I promise you there's many times that over 21 years that you feel that you're right about something and you want to fight for it, but then, like, what's the point? Just let it go. And I think it's so super duper cliche, but when you're mature enough in your marriage that you can allow the molehills to stay molehills and not become mountains, then you're on the right track to succeed for sure.
And I think you see when you allow that and you have the wisdom and you allow that at home, you carry that success principle into your professional world and you allow the molehills there to be molehills there as well. I was just reading something this morning that I had heard in the past and it came back to the top of mind because of a newsletter I got, and it's inspect what you expect. And it's such that is an oldie but goodie. And again, so just we have weekly meetings, daily meetings in our professional world to inspect what we expect and assign priorities. Why would we not translate that into our personal world? So those molehills can stay molehills. And again, you schedule conversations so it doesn't equal conflict.
So I'm going to give you both, you guys decide the closing thoughts. And what I want you both to share is number one, how does someone get started with doing a weekly meeting with their spouse? And then number two, if they want to learn more about you or your service or your team, how do they get in contact with you?
Okay, why don't you take this and I'll wrap up.
So I think the best way to get started, with anything is just to start, right? So we would love to just share, and while maybe we share this with you and you can drop it in the show notes, just the agenda for our quote marriage by design, which is the exact agenda we go through. And to be honest, well, some weeks it takes us 20 minutes to go through that meeting. It takes no time at all. Like we're really aligned. But like this week, our meeting was longer because we had been on family vacation the week before. And then we came back right away and hosted some friends here in Chicago for my member guest golf tournament. And then his wife came in and Tammy hosted, our friend Holly.
Which they won, by the way. I got to give them props. They won member guests this year. Yes.
We did, which is a miracle. I'm sure you've played in those, Wally, and you need a lot of things to go right to win something like that. But it was certainly just a great, joyful time with other, couples that we want to be doing life with. Right. But yeah, that's what I would certainly offer. We would, we'll provide that agenda. Love people to take a look at it. And just start. And what I would recommend though, like Sunday night meetings, like a lot of people will coach, oh, do the Sunday night meeting. What I find is by Sunday night, especially if you have kids, it's the weekend. You're kind of, we're kind of tired on a Sunday night. We just want to kind of chill and get ready for Monday. So we do this meeting somewhere during the week where it's kind of on the schedule, just like every other important meeting, right? I mean, you wouldn't meet with your loan partner team on Sunday night at 6 p.m. So why would you give your spouse that slot? Because we find that gets skipped a lot. So Tam, you want to talk about how to get in touch with us?
Absolutely. Again, I think Wally, you'll provide it in your show notes. We'll give you the one pager. We encourage you to do it on a weekly basis. Like Bernie said, put it on your calendar, even if it's for 30 minutes. And the rule of thumb is you can move it, but you can't delete it because, again, your marriage should be your most important business. To follow us, you can follow us at We Are BAMI, either on Instagram and or watch some of our episodes. We have short episodes on YouTube. We'd love to be in touch, stay in touch, reach out to us if we can provide any further guidance. And we have a lot of things that we can share too, to just blow up your life altogether. You should be winning at home just as much as you are winning at work.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much for your time. 24/7 Mindset World, I highly recommend you reach out to them. Here's simply why. You heard me say this 1,000 times. You want to double your income and double your time off. It's an and, it's not an or. There's no need for you to be a slave to your mortgage business, but for you to double your time off, spend it with your spouse and your kids, but you've got to have a relationship, stay in relationship with them. So highly recommend this. Reach out to me if you have any questions. If not, look at the show notes below, connect with them and reach out from there. All right. Cheers, guys.